Here she comes.
Okay. This is Mattie. Welcome to Missy's Imaginings Special Edition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we are going to go to a show. We're going to go see Dan and Phil, which is going to be super fun in 3 days. So,
hey, anything's possible if you believe.
There we go. So, if you know much about their videos, when they started out, they used to do a lot of videos, and in their video backgrounds was their duvet covers. One was black and white and grays, and one was greens and blues. So, we'll hold one up. So these are the colors. And so, Mattie had the set. She had the pillowcases and the duvet cover, but she doesn't really use them anymore. And so, to go to this show, she had the idea of making a little dress out of the fabric from the duvet cover. So
it's a big duvet cover.
it is. So
it's not this.
Right, and I'll cut to that in a minute because we do have it laid out. We're ready to go, and we'll kind of show that. But so we've got the fabric. She picked out a pattern. We'll take a closer look at it, but it is a McCall's M8177, and I zoomed in on it, so we'll show it in a minute here.
Okay.
But so we are going to be filming parts of this process of sewing a dress, which is different than I usually do. Usually we're doing doll things, but today we're doing person things. So she will be our model and seamstress, and so we're going to turn it into a project for the show, content for the channel, as well as sewing lessons for Mattie. So we've started with the learning to look at what is required on the pattern, knowing how to judge if you have enough fabric. And so our next order of business will be to actually lay out the pieces and get it cut. I have, and we're going to come behind the camera now. We'll dislodge it from our stand, but what used to have all the dolls here, now they are moved over here and temporarily in the sunshine, but I do have the blinds closed, so it's not direct sunlight, but we needed light in this room. So they've all been moved over to that station so that we can work on our dress project. So we'll go ahead and get started. So here is the fabric. We have already cut everything apart as far as the duvet cover having, you know, seams and the little snaps on the ends. So we have cut all that apart, and we have laid it out, folded over with the length of the fabric. So I was very pleased because I had not previously known that the cover was simply folded from the front to the back, so it gave us lots and lots of yardage. And this is the dress that she chose. It's a McCall's, let's see, MB177 pattern, and we are going to be making this view. And so, yeah, so here we go. We have the fabric laid out. We have cut the pieces apart, and I have ironed them so they are all flat. And so our next order of business will be to actually lay them out on the fabric and pin it down and get these pieces cut. She also surprised me. She said, "Since you're helping me, I brought you a present." So she found one of the little Our Generation school supply kits, which is perfect for 3rd scale size dolls. So I believe these are at Target. So anyway, that was a little surprise. She's in the shower. I have freshly showered, so I'm going to get the towel off of my head, and yeah, we'll come back and take a look at laying this pattern out and getting it cut out to start our dress. So since her duvet cover is really, really wide, we are going to be using this layout guide to lay out all the pieces. Her fabric is actually wider than 60 inches, so we probably won't have any problem having enough fabric. But your guide will show you, according to the width of your fabric, how to lay out the fabric. This is on the fold, So this is our folded edge, and so we will be laying that out. So Mattie, if you come over, here's the choice you're going to need to make. Now these pieces are made to sew either the long version or the short version of the dress, and here is a cut line for the shorter version. So the question is, do you want to physically cut your pattern pieces, or do you want to fold them in a way to preserve the entirety of the piece? You can cut on that line, and if you want to make a longer version later, just tape it back together. Or we can fold it so that this is all folded up onto here, and then it would preserve that piece. So you get to choose.
Maybe just fold it.
Okay.
So I have the option later.
Okay, so I'm going to let you grab the camera, and if you can keep this in focus. So when you're wanting to preserve a pattern piece in its entirety, to not have to worry about taping it together later, which is what I recommend, so it was a good choice, because if you tape them together and then you want to press your pieces and make sure they're flat, sometimes the tape that you use will stick to an iron. So go ahead, and folding it is a good choice. So what you can do is just fold on that line, and then just gently pleat your paper, because it's only tissue paper, and just gently fold on that line where you would normally cut, and then this can just be pleated and tucked out of the way like this. And I've done this on real people clothing, on doll clothing, and it just gives an option so that you can then preserve that pattern piece. So by just folding it and then tucking this out of the way, then you can cut out that pattern piece, and then later if you want to make the longer version, you just unfold it. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to be folding these and getting these all laid out on our fabric, and then we'll be ready to cut. Okay, so we've started cutting, and we've cut away the excess that we don't need on the pattern pieces, so it'll be the right size. And I'm sitting down taking a break for a minute. And so we have one of the pieces, the pockets cut out. We're working on a second piece and the interfacing piece, or the facing piece. And so Mattie's working, so we're making progress, getting stuff cut out. What do you think, sis?
Woo!
So we didn't film a lot of the actual sewing process because it was kind of a whirlwind trying to get this all done in just like 2 days. So we don't have a lot of the sewing, but I have a couple of photos here with one of Mattie working on part of the sewing, and then with the finished result. So like I say, it's an abbreviated video on making her dress, but her dress was a huge success, and we had so much fun at the show. And it was definitely a showstopper, especially to anyone who's watched Dan and Phil in the past and knows, you know, so much of the lore. And yeah, so to see her dress out of this fabric was a big hit. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, this is how it turned out. So thanks for watching, and we'll get this one posted, and then we'll be moving on to more of our more regular type dolly sewing projects. Thanks for watching. Bye. See. Okay. Let's hit pause. Okay, stand by me. Didn't work. There we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, you look prettier than me.
What are you...
Wait.
Oh.